What's up, guys? It's me again, Trace. I I think I'm getting shit. I think I'm getting used to uploading and venting a little bit. I like that shit. I'll probably just keep going then. Might as well if it makes me feel good. So there's a couple things I wanted to talk about. First, some dreams, and then my dad. So about my dreams. The first one, it was like interesting. I had just a very small moment where I was looking at myself in the mirror, but I had an elongated face. All right, it was like this or something. But in the dream, it felt very normal. I was just analyzing myself in the mirror. Interesting. The other dream I had a couple nights ago. That one was a little more eerie. I don't know if I'm. I don't know why I'm having these dreams, but uh, it made me feel a little scared. It started off with me in a tent out by a lake, or yeah, it was like a lake. And there's another tent over here, over to my left, and it was my parents in that tent. And I have the door to my tent behind me, and I was in there by myself at first, and then I just remember it snapping into another moment where there was this girl just naked on my bed, and I was like, whoa, okay, this is weird. In the dream, I felt that way, but I went with it anyway. She desperately wanted to have sex, of course, and I was like preparing to, alright, and I was about to like enter in the zone, but I remember like my dad coming to the window and like saying some shit, and I was getting distracted by a bunch of things, but I only remember my parents coming and distracting me. Two things, you know. Dad coming to the window saying some shit, and then my mom opens the door and she was like, "What's going on in here?" kind of thing. And I was just like, "Mom, go away." Well, that was a big situation. I remember that. I don't remember details, but she left eventually. And I remember looking back and I was holding my cat, and it was no longer like the girl was no longer there and sex was not about to happen. Well, my cat was like looking out the window, I think, and just wouldn't stop looking out the window. Her eyes were like huge, huge, abnormally big, like Puss in Boots. Okay, it was like when he does his big eyes thing. It was a lot like that. Sear is my cat's name. Well, her left eye started going foggy. Okay, and it was like progressive, and I remember like getting distracted by something and looking back, and both her eyes were foggy and really big, and it wasn't progressive anymore. They were just foggy. And then this is where it made me start feeling really weird. Is her lips like pursed like that, but slowly, okay? And I was just watching it like, what the hell's going on? And then once they finally got to that purse point, she took a second and just held it for a little bit. All of a sudden, I feel her belly like contract, and she goes, "Whoo, whoo." Meanwhile, never stopping looking out the window with her cloudy ass big eyes. Her lips are pursed like a cat's lips don't do. It was really weird. Made me feel unsafe when she started doing that who thing. It happened like 3 times, and then I woke myself up and I was not having it. That seems to happen to me. When I don't like it, I will get out of it. I'm glad I can do that. So there's my dreams. Caught up on that. The next thing I wanted to talk about is my dad. My dad is, just to give you an idea, he was a professional bull rider, so he's kind of nutty a little bit. not into like 51 50 cents, but you know, you got to be a little crazy to hop on a bull. And he was like professional welder, professional logger, so he's like pretty tough dude. He's always had like hard work and ranching under his belt. When he was young, he didn't have it easy for sure. Well, he was abused by his parents a bunch. I've only been told a little bit. I don't know how far it goes, but his past is kind of gnarly. And so I think it's like affecting him in the long run. Maybe it disconnected him from things, or maybe he disconnected from his emotions entirely just so that way he could cope or something. Well, he seems to be a pretty quiet dude. My parents, they just fight all the time. Anytime they ask me, hey, you want to go to town with us? Every time I say, nah. Because all you're going to do is just be pissed at each other. You open your mouth to the other one at all about anything, and it's a fight immediately. It's wild. So I can't be around that. And he's a pretty quiet dude until he starts talking. Then he seems to have broken logic, is the best way I could put it. He likes to do things the hard way. Every time. He does not. It's like he doesn't understand how not to do it hard, okay? But he's a pretty old guy now, so it's set in his ways kind of thing. I really worry about him because he's always working these hardcore jobs, and kind of like you have to sacrifice things to make things happen, and I get it to a point, but he seems to sacrifice him own self, you know. He seems like a lost soul, hardcore. Every every time he comes home, in his truck, he's got it plugged into his phone, and he's just listening to a whole bunch of different people's investigations and all that about the political scene. Just everything to do with the political scene. And I'm sure while he's at work, he's listening to it too. Just nothing but political shit. Every now and then, I do see he's watching bull riding, which, good, man. Fuck yeah. Like, do pay attention to something that makes you feel good, you know? Like, all this stressful politics, really. Which I can understand somewhat. I can understand completely, but I'm like somewhere different, man. That stuff has. I feel like I gotta be careful with what I say, but it doesn't really have a hold on me, okay? Like, I'm not watching it all the time. Um, I feel like it's just part of the Matrix. So that's about as far as I'll say. And I feel like he's just deep in it, caught hard, and he just doesn't have a way out. Um, well, beyond that, I feel like maybe it's somewhat of an escape. Maybe something to scapegoat. You know, be like, fuck, I've worked all these years and it's because of these guys or whatever, you know, like I've had such a hard time, I've had to do this and I've had to go through all these hardships, kind of like something to point the finger at. I don't know. That's what it seems like, but on a deeper level, on a very deep level, I'm about to be pretty vulnerable here, so if you made it this far in the video, thank you. That means a lot to me. Well, I feel like the energy he puts off, he does not want to be here. You know, like he wants to off himself or something. And that worries me. I don't want that. I would feel like it would be pointless, man. You made it all this way just to do that, you know? But I still have high hopes for him. He seems to be really interested in me and having this job. he seems to want me to do really well there. I mentioned the Amazon thing to him, and instead of going against it and like trying to tell me not to go and following his fear, which he's done a lot, he actually just accepted it, and he was like, "Oh, okay. Well, I hope you do it." You know, it's like he seems to have let go of things or doesn't care. You know, but I'm worried about how far he doesn't care. Shit, I'm kind of sick. Not really. It's there. It's trying to get me. It's just in this one nostril. Maybe it's a sinus infection. I'm not sure, but it seems to want to be in my throat and make me want to cough. I ain't letting it happen. All right. I've been blowing my nose like crazy. I haven't felt any like headaches or sore throat or nothing. It's just this one nostril. Yeah. So that's where I'm at today. I got my hacky sack today. That was cool. That's going to be a level up for me for sure. I haven't had one in a few months. I left my last one on the beach at Tahoe, and that was kind of devastating. So having one now is fucking cool, man. Um, Little random, I know, but this is me, man. 100%. This is me in full authenticity. You can call it channeling my higher self, whatever you want to call it, man. I just know who I am, and I'm gonna keep going. This video stuff is helping me figure out of me more of who I am. So, yeah, I'm gonna keep uploading. And once again, if you made it this far in the video, thank you very much. Um, that's it, man. That's all I have to say. That's where I'm at currently. So, see you guys.